Marisa Brahma. Welcome to everybody in Charlotte.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It is an absolute honor and a pleasure to have you in here.
I'm glad to be here. I've heard so many great things about this podcast, and superstars have been on here, so I'm honored to be here.
Superstars. I love it. Well, yeah, we add you to the list. So interestingly, I remember picking up some food from you. You probably don't remember this. Don't know where you live now, but at some point you lived in the apartments down by the baseball fields.
Yes, I did. That's where I started, Robbie.
That's where you started. Okay. So I picked some up at some point. I don't remember. I think it was for
Wow.
my wife. I mean, this was
You're an OG customer.
OG. Yeah. I mean, I think Stephanie probably had something to do with it. So before we jump into things that nobody knows what we're talking about, let's start with a little bit about you first, and then we'll jump into your business that we're going to promote. Where are you from?
Colorado.
Where?
Just outside of Denver.
Yeah?
Westminster, Broomfield area.
Okay. Is that, what direction would that be?
North. Like 20 minutes north of Denver.
So Boulder's north, right?
Yes.
So
I'm like 15 minutes south
of Boulder. So
right in
between,
the middle.
huh? Interesting.
I went to college at CSU, Fort Collins.
Yes.
Like an hour north of Denver.
Got it. Lovely. Did you like it out there?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
The people, of course, the mountains, the weather. I do miss it. It was very outdoorsy.
I bet you miss it. Why'd you come here?
That's a long story.
Is it? All right. Is there a short and condensed version?
I came from China.
Okay.
I was living in China, and I got into med school in Boston. But it was during COVID. So I couldn't be on campus at all the whole year. So I decided live somewhere cheaper and better weather.
Okay.
And on the same time zone, and Charlotte happened to be available.
Okay. Where's med school?
Oh, Boston University.
But you went to med school?
I did.
Are you a physician?
No. It was not for me, and
Okay.
I found that out rather quickly.
Good. Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. You're right. That is a long story. It could be a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to know more. Offline, I'll ask more. All right. So China, just threw that in there. What took you to China real quick?
So I have a degree in pre-med studies at CSU, and it takes about a year by the time you apply to when you get accepted for medical school. And I had already worked postgraduate in the field of medicine for about a year, and this is still in Colorado, and decided I wanted to just be in a new environment. And I had studied abroad in Italy before, and I had traveled growing up a lot. So Europe was very familiar, and I wanted something new.
Far.
Like I love getting out of my comfort zone. And China pays quite well to teach English to kindergartners.
Oh, cool.
And you don't need a teaching degree.
Sure.
So I found a school and interviewed, and they took me and they flew me out there, and
that's insane.
I just took a gap year essentially, but it was the time I was waiting to hear from colleges I already applied to for medical school.
Got it.
And I absolutely loved Asia. It was a shock. It's still the only panic attack I've ever had that first night I arrived in China.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's so different.
I've never been.
And I went
so
all
I have
alone.
no idea.
I knew nobody.
Oh my
and
God.
but I just woke up the next
right?
day.
A lot of people.
Huge, huge city. Unlike, bigger than New York. Like it was unlike anything I've ever been in before. And just fell in love, about all of it. So.
Just so much action, right? Just movement and people and food and noise and cigarettes.
And spitting, noises. Yeah, it was different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Culture, you loved the culture?
At first, no.
Yeah.
It was really hard to adjust to, but, I realized I was in their culture. And if I can't reject it and be mad about it. So I was like, okay, let's get familiar and accept it and find the beauty in it. And it took no time because they're lovely people. The Asian culture prioritizes hospitality and you first. And I found that to be quite different than the Western culture I knew here. And it was just lovely. They really genuinely cared about you. And
wow.
the food was great. It
Yeah.
was quite beautiful, and it was quite cheap to live out there, so I got to travel around a lot, and it was just really beautiful
That
and
is super cool.
quite
Holy
the
cow.
experience. The best education I ever got.
Huh. I love that. God, I love that. All right, so how did that influence your next steps? So you go to
Mhm.
med school after that,
Mhm.
but realize it's not for you. Did China and a lot of the worldly education that you received, did that kind of influence some of that
Oh,
decision?
big time.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
Experiencing the medical system in Eastern culture, so in China, was very different from here. But they first started treatment with holistic practices.
Mhm.
Not medications off the bat. It was, well, all right, what are you doing? What
Yeah.
are you eating? Are you moving? Let's try this herb or ginseng tea, or let's try this, like cream. And then it would end up at medication if you needed it. But it was so different. But I've always preferred that anyway. Growing up, I never really liked to take medication if I had a headache or, if something happened. I've always lived a healthier life. So I really resonated with that.
Mhm.
And then I traveled to Bali, Indonesia,
Mhm.
and they're really big on raw nutrition.
Mhm.
And I found raw desserts there to be delicious and really gourmet. And it wasn't the case here. Vegan desserts here, at least at that time in 2018 to 2020, had a bad rep for being dry and chalky and just not very good in general.
Mhm.
And I believed that myself, but in Bali, they were so delicious and you felt so good eating them. And they were made with whole foods and nothing artificial, just like raw, just delicious. And like I became obsessed and I made it for them, like these raw desserts for my friends in China. Um, and then fast forward, I move here and I'm in medical school and I'm stressed out because who's not in medical school? And as my relief, I'm making these raw desserts still and I'm just
Mhm.
giving them away to anyone. I didn't know anyone when I moved to Charlotte. So
Mhm.
in my gym F45, I would just bring these treats and give them to people. Like I have 2 men, just eat it. It's good,
Yeah.
And they were like, "Wow, they're so good. What else can you make? Like I have a party coming up. Can you
Oh
can
my
you cater it?
god.
Like, do you have an Instagram?" I had nothing. But medical school was not resonating with me morally. In just the first semester, they were teaching us pharmacology and, the symptom of this means you need that drug, which
Yep.
causes this symptom. So you need that drug and then
Oh
this
god.
procedure. And I'm like, what? Like
Yeah.
inside, my soul is just like, no,
Yeah.
don't do it. 7 years, $500,000, more than 7 years. And it was like chaos going on. I was like, I have worked my whole life to be a doctor and I'm here and I've made it. Like,
You're so
why
conflicted.
why am I not loving it? Like,
Yeah.
I know it's hard. I
Wow.
was in for the hard. I've never been deterred by hard work,
Yeah.
but it just didn't resonate. I didn't, there was
Yeah.
just something I didn't know, but I knew it wasn't right. So making that decision to drop out, I thought the world was ending. I thought my mom was going to kill me, but I was very lucky, very, very, very grateful to have been with a partner who could support me in that decision.
Mhm.
Um, and so I was able to decide to drop out. And the same week, I created the Instagram, picked the name Raw Bites by Risa, and was
Mhm.
all in to see where it could go.
And this is 20 what? 2020?
2020.
2020.
Yeah, very end of 2020.
Around there. You go all in on Raw Bites by Rissa. So the listeners of this episode can understand based on our previous conversation what Raw Bites by Rissa
Yes.
is. Raw food, specifically dessert type stuff, or have you expanded
Yeah,
beyond there?
they're nothing savory, but they're not, I say desserts or snacks.
Yeah.
Maybe like we have a lot of products that are great in the morning, pre-workout or post-workout. They're not so indulgent. We do have the cakes and the cheesecakes, but we also have like Cinnabon or like banana bread bites,
Mm-hmm.
something that are less indulgent per se. and that are just still like a nice, healthy, clean fuel.
Gluten-free?
All gluten free, all vegan, no refined sugar, no artificial anything. So
Uh-huh.
all natural, whole food that your
Yes.
body knows how to digest
Yeah,
and use as
and
fuel
loves,
and loves, and it's
and it
delicious.
tastes good. Your sweetness, where do you get the sweetness?
We use dates
Yeah,
quite often,
yeah.
and those full of potassium, but also very sweet. And so you
Mhm,
don't need a lot of them to get that sweetness. But also coconut
mhm,
and cacao powder have a sweetness to them as
mhm,
well. So that's we do use coconut sugar as well,
mhm.
but unrefined coconut sugar.
Unrefined, unrefined.
Yeah.
Okay, that is, very interesting and inspiring more than anything. I love to hear someone who makes a shift. I did a big shift myself. I was working in mental health, started my own podcast, as people know, and then very quickly, not very quickly, but over time, organically realized that I didn't want to do what I was doing anymore, and I wanted to do this. I'm passionate. I love it. I feel it. Fills my cup,
Heck
and it
yeah.
sounds very familiar. It sounds
Yeah.
similar, I should say.
Well, props to you for doing that again. Like we were saying
You
off
too.
camera, it's hard.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's hard to follow that gut instinct, especially if you're already in something that's successful or you've worked for.
Mhm.
And to make that pivot in the uncertainty of what it could become um, takes a lot of faith.
It does. It takes it in the initial decision, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's an ongoing practice,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, just
Right.
entrepreneurship, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just an every day. You know, you
Right.
get one big email, it's like, "We're gonna get rich." You get a one bad email, one bad email, and it's like, "We're going under."
Right. And that's kind of where the faith comes in. Like you
Yeah.
have to have faith that life is a wave. And no matter what, you'll always benefit. Even when you get that terrible email, we're going under. Like you
Mhm.
have to hold on to that faith that even if so, the wave will come back up
Yeah,
and there's a benefit for you over there.
yeah.
And I think that's a skill and an awareness that pays off 10 times if you
Totally.
can practice it and hold on to it.
Totally, and you said it best where it's life, you know, it's not just business. It's if you're self-aware,
Mhm.
you know, if you believe in what you're doing, whether it's professional or personal, combined with that self-awareness, I think that awareness is huge. I think often we get blinded by the carrot or the money or whatever it is, and you can, you know, believe in it, and you might get that bad email, and that email could be very educational for you. It could be
If you choose
if
to see that side of it, right?
right, well, but if you could be doing something wrong. I mean, we're all making mistakes. That's how we
True.
grow and how we
Yeah.
learn, you know? And if you take that and imply or implement it into your strategy and you're going forward, then I mean, that's all very valuable, right?
Oh my gosh,
You
absolutely.
kind of you have to do that, right?
Right. Right. Like you do have to keep that drive and to like keep getting that evidence that if you persist and if you're willing to learn. And I really think like that awareness and that key of being willing, like not to just be like, oh, F that happened, like their fault. Like, no,
Right?
be like, okay, this
What
happened.
can I learn?
Even take accountability. Be like, what can I do differently? What can I learn? Like, even if it's someone else's fault, be like, let's learn and persist and
Mhm.
keep forward. I think that's the key to always find growth. Even if something bad happens, is it really bad if it's for you and you benefited from it?
Mhm. No, 100%. 100%. I often think about, you know, when you apply it to industry and supply demand and trends and science and research and there are times where there are ideas that you might just have to say, all right, this might not
Right.
work. You know,
Right.
and but still to your point, you can shift and you go
Right.
in a different direction based on that learning. Um, I love that. I mean, that is just daily. I mean,
Daily, yeah.
what we started here a year and a half ago is not what it is today, right? And it's all because of all that.
Right. And like how awesome that it isn't. Because if it
Yeah.
always ends up being exactly what you thought or set out to be, you'd be missing all the opportunities of what could be.
Mhm.
Right. And so, like, great. you kept your mind open and you just led what felt right every day to what this could be, even if it didn't go exactly how you thought or planned. Like, look how much people you are serving now
Mhm.
because of this idea you had or thing you started.
Yeah.
And it's going to grow even bigger and the impact will be endless.
Yeah.
Like, how beautiful is that?
That's so beautiful. All right, so where is Raw Bites headed? Tell me first about Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty. Oh,
Scotty, big shout. I know you're watching.
but my goodness, that made my week.
Oh my
Seeing that,
God, week.
I wasn't even in town, and I landed on the plane and turned my phone on,
Tell the
and
story. Tell the story.
I was going to Mexico City. Landed, turned my phone on when we landed, and the Shopify notification popped up, and it said Scotty Scheffler, and I went, Dad, because my dad will sometimes put orders in on like fake names to
Oh
be
my God,
funny,
that's
and
funny.
I was like, oh, Dad, and then I looked at the email address on the order, and it wasn't my dad's email. So I was like, what? But it was a hidden email address. So I
Uh-huh.
was like, okay, I've never seen that before. And the billing address was Dallas, Texas. And I was like, so I Googled, where does Scotty Scheffler live? And it was Dallas,
D-Town.
Texas. And I was like, oh my God, no way. And I texted my team. I was like, do you know who Scotty Scheffler is? They didn't. And I was like, well, go
Look 'em
Google
up.
him and make the best raw bites you've ever made in your life. And yeah, he was in town for the Quill
The
Hollow
tournament. Yep,
tournament.
the PGA.
And he ordered a strawberries and cream cake. I was like, I think that was a celebration cake
Yeah.
because he crushed it and he won.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we gave him
That's
he had
insane.
delivery and we added in a whole bunch of extra bites and a sweet note like, thanks for your support. Share with your boys. Good
Yeah.
luck. You're awesome. And it was so cool. I mean, he won the
Wow.
tournament. I hope he enjoyed all the bites.
I'm
But that
sure.
was like
That's
so
big.
cool.
That's pretty big time.
And the guy who got a hole in one, Eric Cole,
Yeah.
he also ordered.
Very
So I was
cool.
like, you know what? I think raw bites are performance enhancing.
Oh, no question. No question. They are like protein
Yeah.
balls. I mean, I've seen that,
We
that's
have energy bites, protein bars. Some of them are more indulgent, like the walnut brownie bites
Mhm.
or turtle brownie. But yeah, we got a whole range.
I love it. That's really cool. Scheffler, the guy is
Oh my gosh.
killing it right
He's
now.
amazing. Number one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty. I mean, it could have been any golfer out of the 60 that are playing,
Right.
you know? It was the number one. It happened to be the number one.
So cool.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That is so fun. Well, how do you turn that into some promotion, some credibility?
I didn't want to like be really cliche about
I
it.
understand.
So
I
I let the
understand.
tournament go. And
Mhm.
then when he won that final putt,
Uh-huh.
I had a video from one of my friends that was there. And it was a video of him putting it in and then going like that and giving a hug. And I was like, please send that to me. And that was the only thing that I had posted was, a little screenshot of the cake he ordered and his name. And it was like, you're the man. Congratulations. We posted that and tagged him. Nothing came of it, but we did our best and
Oh,
we
no,
put it out
that's
there. And a lot of customers were like, oh my gosh, that's really
well,
cool.
that's what it was for.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to turn it into a big,
No,
win
you don't
for
wanna
that was
milk
already
it.
a win for me, but
Totally.
cool moment for sure. I saved the story and of course,
It'll
little
turn into
memorabilia.
something. I mean, he'll tell his people, I mean, I know about it. It makes me wanna order more. That's really cool. Brand awareness, right?
Right.
I love that. All right. So where's it going? Where are we headed? Where
Where
are
are
we
we
going
headed?
now?
You know what, Robbie? That is the question.
Mhm. Mhm.
I I don't know.
Good.
Here's
It's
the
the way to
thing.
be about it, right?
Thank you. Everyone's
Yes.
like, "What's your 5-year plan? What's your
Dude,
10-year
I get
plan?"
asked
I'm
it all
like,
the time.
"Snooze.
I got today.
What's my tomorrow plan?
Exactly.
What's my today plan?" Here, look, I was gonna be a doctor.
Mhm.
For 22, 3 years of my life, I was like, "I'm gonna be a doctor." And I'm not a doctor. So that would have never happened if I couldn't keep an open mind and be very flexible about what life can be. So I find myself in the same philosophy with raw bites. Like I could say we will be on every single shelf and nothing's going to stop me, and I admire that admiration that people have, and I think it pays a lot of success. But I like the magic of life and
Mhm.
seeing all the possibilities that could happen. And you have to have an open mind for that.
Mhm.
Because if you don't, if you're on a narrow road, you're not even going to entertain all the doors around you that you could open if they're presented.
Mhm.
So, of course, I have goals for raw bites and I focus on them and we're driven to accomplish them. But I'm also open to whatever else
Yeah.
could possibly happen.
Mhm.
I believe that, we could have a whole conversation about purpose.
Mhm.
And people are like, "Is raw bites your purpose?" And I don't believe it is. I think it's an avenue that serves a purpose that I have, which is impact and service
Mhm.
in a positive way to as many people as I possibly can. And raw bites is a way I can do that,
Yeah.
right? Through
Yeah.
healthy, delicious food. Brings you so much joy when you eat it. You feel great when you eat it. And then because you feel great, you're a happier person to other people. And then they're happier. And it's that ripple effect that's truly creates momentum in this world. But I can also do that by just being me,
Mhm.
by holding the door open for someone or smiling a little bit
Mhm.
brighter or extra or giving that high five in the gym or just bringing that energy. Like that's just as impactful. And I believe that's the purpose.
Mhm.
And raw bites is amazing because it serves that. So I kind of got off track, but
No, you didn't.
we'll see. Like maybe, we are looking at getting a facility in Denver, Colorado,
Okay.
and creating like real wrappers for about 4 SKUs and going nationwide with that. Like that's in the development. So
Okay.
there's a lot happening
So
there.
there is some stuff,
But
yeah.
like, that'll be one thing that happens, and the brand that we have here, maybe that franchises, or maybe I open other locations myself, or maybe we get a storefront one day, or maybe someone buys or invests and turns it into who know like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm open.
Open.
Like we'll see. I don't necessarily want any one of those more than the other, but you know, who I am today is not who I'll be in a week or a month or a year. So when that moment comes, let's see what she wants, right?
How old are you?
30.
Okay. Um, what I was doing when I was 30 is not this. Uh, no, I just everything you're saying very, very much resonates, and there's a lot of people that have a different outlook on life, and it's not to say it's wrong or right. Some people are very driven and rigid and want and see a goal and 5, 10, 20, 15 year 15, 20 years. And fine if that's how their brain works and that's what
Right.
makes them feel comfortable and content and helps them get where they're trying to get. I was not that way, very, 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 very much not that way. I've done so many different things in my life, and I love to hear that you are if it does stay raw bites for the rest of your life, fine, but that's not we're not looking out that far. It
Mhm.
right? It's I like you said, I mean, this could be a stepping stone, it could be an avenue, it could be so many different things that lead you to
Mhm.
here, that leads you to there, that leads you to there. That is a joyful life in my opinion. I
It's
really like
exciting,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah,
To just always be in wonder of what could happen or what could be. It kind of keeps you on your toes and, um, you know, lets you entertain all ideas and all perspectives,
totally. Well,
which is like the people you meet in that is the
oh,
best part,
it's
debatably.
unbelievable. I mean, I
Yeah.
was in LA this past entire week. I was meeting actors and
I
Mark
saw that.
Cuban.
Mark
I mean,
Cuban. I'm
yeah.
like,
Well, that's like
all right,
that
Robbie.
alone, like me sitting down. I mean, I could tell that story for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like all the things that have occurred throughout my timeline that led to that.
Right.
And I could do it. I could get a whiteboard and map out
Right.
from like age 20 the pivotal moments in my life that led me to sit down and have a cool conversation with Mark Cuban. Not that that's the end all be all, but it was pretty
That's
cool.
so cool. I would love to hear about that later.
Yeah, so it's just I love that, I often talk about the convergence of paths,
Mm.
and if you're open and you have all these multiple paths and you allow them to or allow yourself to pull and piece things together from different experiences and people and conversations and wisdom and hardships and successes, and then, it's as you get older, those things tend to come together
Mhm.
if you allow it,
If you
right?
allow it, right,
Right, and I love to hear that you're further back, but that's the direction you're headed, and it's
right.
really inspiring, and I'm glad that you have kind of an old soul.
I do have an old
Of
soul.
course you do. I can feel it. Anything else you wanna, say the website? Like, is there anything you wanna say to the listeners that can drive people to your
Yeah, I mean,
raw
right
bites?
now we are order ahead online only. So we don't have a storefront.
Mhm,
We produce out of a production kitchen called Carolina Commercial Kitchen, which is in the Cotswold area,
mhm,
not far from the health club, like
mm-mm.
right around the corner actually, on Latrobe and Monroe. Or no, Wendover.
'Kay.
So customers can order online. We have a shippable menu. So if you don't live in Charlotte or North Carolina, we ship all over the nation. And there's a specific menu for those products. But if you do live in Charlotte, you can have it all.
Mhm.
And you'll check out online, and that's where you're going to select your day that you're going to come to the kitchen and pick up. Or we offer delivery
Got it.
within a 10-mile radius of the kitchen.
And what's the website?
Rawbitesbyrissa.com.
That makes sense. Lovely. You heard it here. All right. Rissa Brommel, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. That was lovely.
Of course.